Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're diving into the McHenry, Illinois real estate market. We're going deep into all those strategies and nuances that could really make or break a successful home sale.
Right.
And to guide us through these murky waters, we have Michael Linton's guide, Selling Your Home in McHenry, Illinois.
This guide is fantastic. It's really more than just a collection of tips. It's like having a seasoned McHenry realtor right there by your side. Michael really understands the pulse of this market.
And that's key because every market has its own personality, right?
Okay.
So for someone listening who's maybe feeling a little overwhelmed, maybe even a bit intimidated by the thought of selling their home, where does Michael suggest they start?
Well, he really emphasizes that knowledge and preparation are key. It's like building a house. You need a strong foundation, and that starts with getting your home market ready.
Okay, so let's talk about that. The guide talks about decluttering and depersonalizing. It seems like common sense, but what's the strategy behind it specifically for the McHenry market?
Yeah, you're right. It's not just about tidying up McHenry buyers, particularly those coming from out of town, are often looking for a certain lifestyle. They're drawn to the area's charm, the sense of community. So when they step into your home, they want to envision themselves in that McHenry story, and they can't do that if they're staring at family photos or, your impressive collection of ceramic frogs.
Okay, ceramic frogs got to go. But it's more than just clearing clutter, right? Michael also talks about depersonalizing.
Exactly. It's about neutralizing the space.
Yeah.
You want your home to feel like a blank canvas where potential buyers can paint their own picture of life in McHenry.
So it's about creating a space that feels welcoming but not overwhelming, stylish but not specific to any one taste.
Precisely. Think of those beautifully staged homes you see online or in magazines. You might walk in and think, I would never decorate like this. But you can appreciate the feeling it evokes. It's about showcasing the potential of the space.
This makes me think about something Michael mentioned, staging. Is that something every homeowner in McHenry needs to consider, or is it more for those high-end properties?
Staging can be incredibly beneficial regardless of your home's price point. It's all about maximizing your space and highlighting its best features. And in a competitive market like McHenry, even small details can make a big difference.
Give us an example. What's something someone could do to stage their home specifically for the McHenry market?
Okay, well, imagine you have a cozy fireplace in your living room. Instead of crowding the mantel with family photos, consider a large mirror. It opens up the space, reflects light, and plays into that sense of warmth and invitation that McHenry buyers are drawn to.
That's such a simple change, but makes such a big difference. You're tapping into the emotional aspect of buying a home.
Absolutely. Remember, you're selling a lifestyle, a dream. And in McHenry, that dream often revolves around community connection and that warm, welcoming feeling.
It's about making buyers feel like they've come home. Okay, so we've tackled the look and feel of the home, but what about the price tag? It's about making buyers feel like they've come home. Okay, so we've tackled the look and feel of the home, but what about the price tag?
Pricing is where things can get tricky, but it's also where having that local expertise really pays off. Michael stresses the importance of understanding the McHenry market trends.
So what's the McHenry market saying these days? Are buyers more cautious, more competitive?
The McHenry market is always interesting. It's a desirable area with a mix of buyers, families, retirees, even investors, which keeps things dynamic. Right now, it's definitely a seller's market, but that doesn't mean you can just throw any price out there and expect it to stick.
It's about finding that sweet spot, right? Where your home is priced competitively, but you're not leaving money on the table.
Exactly. And that's where Michael's emphasis on a comparative market analysis, or CMA, comes in.
Now, we touched on this earlier, but for those who might not be familiar with real estate lingo, break down what a CMA is and why it's so crucial in a market like McHenry.
A CMA is essentially a deep dive into recent home sales in your immediate area. It looks at comparable properties, similar size, features, condition that have sold recently. This gives you a realistic benchmark for what buyers are willing to pay for a home like yours in the current market.
So it's like checking out the competition, seeing what's sold and for how much.
Precisely. And this is where working with a local realtor like Michael is invaluable. They have access to all the data, they understand the nuances of each neighborhood, and they can help you interpret that data to determine a strategic listing price.
It's like having a secret weapon. They can pinpoint exactly where your home fits within the market landscape.
Absolutely. And this is especially important in a market like McHenry, where location can significantly impact value. A home near the chain of lakes is going to command a different price than a similar home a few miles inland.
Makes sense. You're not just buying a house. You're buying a piece of McHenry. So let's say you've nailed the price. You've got stunning photos online. Your home is staged to perfection. The offers start rolling in. How do you navigate that process?
This is where having a cool head and a strategic mindset is essential. It's
Honey.
easy to get caught up in the excitement, especially if you have multiple offers on the table.
Oh, I can imagine. You're practically popping champagne at that point.
It's tempting. But this is where Michael's advice really shines. He emphasizes the importance of looking beyond the offer price.
Because it's not always about the highest number, right? There are other factors at play.
Exactly. Contingencies are a great example.
Contingencies. Let's unpack those a bit.
A contingency is basically a condition that must be met for the sale to go through. Some common ones include financing contingencies, where the buyer needs to secure a mortgage, or inspection contingencies, where the sale is dependent on the outcome of a home inspection.
So a buyer might say, I'll offer you this much, but only if I can get approved for a loan or if the inspection doesn't reveal any major problems.
Precisely. And while contingencies are standard in real estate transactions, they can sometimes create complications. Michael recommends being proactive and addressing any potential concerns up front.
So if you know your roof is nearing the end of its lifespan, you might consider getting a pre-listing inspection and addressing it proactively.
Exactly. This shows potential buyers that you're a serious seller and can potentially streamline the closing process.
It's all about transparency and building trust. Now, Michael also talks about the importance of having a clear timeline. Why is that so crucial, especially in the McHenry market?
McHenry has a seasonal rhythm, much like the lake itself. People want to settle in and enjoy those long summer days or cozy winter nights by the fireplace.
So a seller who is flexible with their move-out date might have a slight advantage.
Absolutely. If you can align your timeline with a buyer's ideal move-in date, it can definitely work in your favor. Of course, it's all about finding a balance that works for everyone involved.
This has been incredibly insightful, but we're running a bit short on time for this deep dive. What are some closing thoughts for our listener? This has been incredibly insightful, but we're running a bit short on time for this deep dive. What are some closing thoughts for our listener?
Amidst all the practical tips and strategies, what really stands out in Michael's guide is the emphasis on mindset. It's about approaching the selling process with a sense of clarity, confidence, and even a bit of excitement.
I love that. Because, let's face it, selling a home can be emotional. It's more than just a transaction. It's a big life change.
Absolutely. And Michael encourages sellers to embrace that. Don't shy away from the emotional aspect. Instead, channel that energy into making your home as welcoming and appealing as possible. Remember, you're not just selling bricks and mortar. You're selling a piece of your McHenry story.
That's such a powerful way to frame it. And speaking of stories, I'm curious about something you mentioned earlier, those seller power moves that Michael outlines in his guide. What are those, and how can they give someone an edge in the McHenry market?
These power moves are all about being proactive and strategic throughout the process. One of the most impactful ones, particularly in a seasonal market like McHenry, is timing.
So when is the prime time to list a home in McHenry? We hear a lot about spring being the sweet spot, but is that always the case?
Spring and early summer are definitely popular times in McHenry. The weather is beautiful, the lake is calling, and families are often looking to settle in before the school year starts. But there are also advantages to listing in the off-season.
Like what? Tell me more.
Well, for one, there's typically less inventory on the market during the fall and winter months. Less competition means your home might stand out more. Plus, you might attract a different type of buyer, someone who is highly motivated, maybe relocating for work and willing to brave a little snow for the right property.
That's a great point. It's all about understanding the dynamics of the market and adjusting your strategy accordingly.
Exactly. And that's where having a skilled local realtor by your side is invaluable. They can help you weigh the pros and cons, analyze the data, and make informed decisions every step of the way.
So for our listener who's now armed with this knowledge, ready to dive into the McHenry real estate market, what's one final thought you'd leave them with?
I think it comes back to what we discussed earlier. Mindset is everything.
Sure.
Go into this process informed, prepared, and with a positive attitude. Remember, selling your home doesn't have to be stressful. With the right guidance and a little bit of McHenry magic, it can be an exciting new chapter.
I love that. Embrace the journey. Trust the process. And remember, you're not just selling a property. You're sharing a piece of McHenry's unique story. That's a wrap on today's deep dive into the McHenry real estate market. We hope you feel empowered, informed, and maybe even a little bit inspired to embark on your own McHenry adventure. Until next time.